Hey, what's up guys? It is Mike here, and these are my top 10 facts about Fredbear. So up at number 10 is of course that Fredbear caused the bite of 87. This one is pretty obvious. At the end of FNAF 4, you see it happen right in front of you during one of the last minigames. The debate between fans about who caused the bite of 87 has been going around since FNAF 1, and now it is finally resolved and put to rest. And also, when you think about it, the bite of 87 was the spark that caused a chain of events which led to all the horrific monstrosities that happened throughout the Five Nights at Freddy's series. And for number 9 is that if you look at Fredbear in the extras menu and you pay attention to the buttons on Fredbear's chest, you might notice that one of them is white, which is kind of weird because if you look at his model during gameplay, both of his buttons are black. So yeah, not a big deal, probably just a little bug, maybe like a lighting bug or something, but it is quite weird that a black button would reflect light in that way. And for number 8 is that if you pay attention to Fredbear's teeth, you might notice that at their roots they have a tint of red. Now this is interesting because this is very possibly a reference to the bite of 87. What do I mean by that? Well, since Fredbear bit off the child's frontal lobe, I think it would be fair to assume that he had some blood stains left on his teeth. And that might be where the red stains come from. And this happens to be the child's last memory of Fredbear, a huge monster biting off his head with bloody teeth. And then for fact number 7 is that right after the bite of 87, Fredbear was disposed of. And not only that, but the restaurant even had to be sold, and Fredbear was never seen again. The restaurant and the animatronics became completely abandoned until Fazbear Entertainment bought the place. And of course, not willing to associate themselves with a robot that bites off children's frontal lobes, they decided to do a rebranding from Fredbear and Friends to what is now known as Freddy Fazbear and his band. And for fact number 6 is that Fredbear uses the spring lock mechanism just like Springtrap. The reason we know this is because in FNAF 3, Phone Guy explains to us that the animatronics that have the spring lock mechanism have a very distinct feature. They can be used in both suit mode and animatronic mode. In other words, they can be operated manually with a person inside or automatically by using a artificial intelligence and an endoskeleton. But anyway, going back to FNAF 4, we know that Fredbear uses the spring lock mechanism because we can clearly see that there are instances where he's operated manually by a person inside of him and other instances when he is on stage and unmanned, yet he still functions. And for fact number 5 is that Fredbear is the only animatronic in the whole Five Nights at Freddy's series that we didn't see his real appearance. We don't know what Fredbear actually looks like. We only saw him through either the minigames or the nightmares. And obviously, in the case of the nightmares, it wasn't his real appearance. And at this point, unless his appearance is revealed somehow after the box opens, we'll never quite find out what he looks like. And for fact number 4 is that Fredbear is the very first animatronic to have been created in the Five Nights at Freddy's universe. The reason we know this is because in FNAF 3, Phone Guy tells us that the original animatronics used the spring lock mechanism, and we know of only 2 animatronics that have used the spring lock mechanism, Fredbear and Springtrap. Now, let me bring your attention to the Bring Cake to the Children minigame. Notice that the events in this minigame take place when the establishment was only a small building and only had one animatronic, Fredbear, not Springtrap. So yeah, Fredbear was the first. And now for number 3 is that if you pay attention to Fredbear's laugh track, you might notice that it sounds very similar to Freddy Fazbear's laugh track from FNAF 1, but it sounds much deeper, as if it came from an older child. And maybe it did. It's possible that this laugh came from the older brother, because especially if you speed it up, it's clear that it comes from an older child. So yeah, it's quite interesting and quite creepy. Maybe it's the kid remembering how his older brother would scare him and then laughed afterward. And then for number 2 is, remember when playing FNAF 3, you may have heard the Phone Guy say that there had been a spring lock failure in the past. And if you think about it, it's clear that Fredbear was the source of that spring lock failure. In particular, the bite of 87. Which makes a lot of sense because, think about it, an accident happens at Fredbear Family Diner, which causes for the diner to close and for Fredbear to be disposed of. But when the new location opens, Springtrap is still around and hasn't been disposed of, and so they just keep him in the back room, unable to use him because of the quote-unquote spring lock mechanism failure, aka the bite of 87. And even though Springtrap and Fredbear are two different entities. They both use the spring lock mechanism. And now for number 1 is that there was a real-life person named Fredbear. Now, it is unclear whether the name Fredbear is actually a reference to that person, but it is possible. So Fredbear was actually a renowned hunter who hunted strictly using bows and arrows. So I think it's possible that Fredbear's family diner took this name in honor of Fredbear. But either way, whether it did or not, I think it's pretty interesting that there was a real-life person named Fredbear. So yeah, thanks for watching my video, guys. As usual, if you enjoyed this, why not leave a like on the video? And of course, why not click on my face to subscribe to my channel for more Five Nights at Freddy's videos. And otherwise, have a fantastic day, and I'll see you guys next time. Peace!